All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a journey to Cambodia, a place that's so much more than its famous stone temples. We're going to explore the very soul of a kingdom, a culture that is rich, incredibly resilient, and has been captivating people for over 1,000 years. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look past those famous stones that everyone knows. Then, we'll dig into the kingdom's spiritual heart. From there, we'll see how those beliefs come to life through what's called the Dance of the Gods. And finally, we'll get into the powerful story of how this entire culture was reborn from the ashes. Okay, first up, we're going beyond the famous stones. We need to look past the postcard pictures to really understand the incredible civilization that built all of this in the first place.
I mean, we've all seen pictures of Angkor Wat, right? It's just one of the most breathtaking places on Earth. But, it makes you wonder, who were the people who actually built this? What did they believe? And where did that culture go? Well, the amazing answer is, it never went anywhere. It's alive and kicking. And that's exactly what we're here to explore.
So, to really get a handle on the scale of this, you've got to understand the history. The Khmer Empire kicked off in the 9th century and just grew into this absolute powerhouse in Southeast Asia. At its peak in the 12th century, it built Angkor Wat. I mean, think about the ambition behind that. This wasn't some flash in the pan. This was a deeply sophisticated civilization that shaped the region for centuries. So, what was the engine driving all of this? What powered an empire to build on such a massive scale? Well, that brings us right to our second section, a kingdom's spiritual heart. This is the divine blueprint that shaped everything from those grand temples right down to daily life. And what's so fascinating here is this unique spiritual blend at Cambodia's core. You see, the early empire was built on a foundation of Hinduism. That's where the epic myths, the worldview, and that whole god-king concept that inspired Angkor came from. But over time, Buddhism became the guiding philosophy for the people, focusing more on morality, how to live a good life, and a personal path to enlightenment. And to get even more specific, we're talking about Theravada Buddhism. It's known as the doctrine of the elders, and it's the main form of Buddhism you'll see in Cambodia today. It's really all about a personal journey toward enlightenment through discipline, meditation, and wisdom. And honestly, understanding this is the key to unlocking the values that guide modern Cambodian society. And this isn't just ancient history. No way. This spiritual life is woven into the fabric of everyday life. You see it everywhere, in the little shrines outside of homes, in the daily offerings of food and incense, in the deep respect people have for monks. And it just explodes with life during huge festivals like Chimben for the ancestors and the Khmer New Year. The local temple, or Wat, really is the true heart of every community. So, from that deep spiritual core, you get this incredible explosion of art. That leads us right into section 3, the Dance of the Gods. This is where we see how those sacred stories are told, not just in stone, but through a vibrant, living, breathing tradition of performance. I just love this quote. It perfectly nails the idea that Cambodian culture is this continuous, unbroken stream. You know those amazing carvings of celestial dancers, the Apsaras, you see on the temple walls? They're not just decorations. They are, quite literally, the instruction manual, the blueprint for the classical dancers of today. And I mean, this connection is super literal. Every single movement in classical Cambodian dance has a very specific meaning. These hand gestures, called mudras, are like a whole language. A simple position of the hand can mean a flower blooming, an offering of fruit, or a gesture of peace and protection. It's so much more than just a dance. It's poetry in motion. So the big thing to remember here is this unbroken chain. When you watch a performance of the Royal Ballet of Cambodia, you are watching a tradition that links directly back to the artists who lived during the Khmer Empire. It is a living, breathing piece of history, passed down from master to student for a millennium. But this living history, this unbroken chain, it was almost lost forever. And in our final section, A Culture Reborn, we have to confront a really dark chapter to truly appreciate the incredible, unbelievable resilience of the Cambodian spirit. To really understand this rebirth, we have to start with a number that is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. During the Khmer Rouge regime in the late 1970s, it's estimated that 90% of Cambodia's artists, dancers, musicians, writers, intellectuals, were systematically killed. This was a deliberate attempt to completely erase the nation's soul. Just think about what that means for a second. It wasn't just the horrific loss of life. It was the near total destruction of cultural memory. The masters who held centuries of unwritten knowledge and tradition in their minds and bodies were gone. It left a void that was just devastating. But out of that absolute devastation came one of the most incredible revivals you can imagine. The few masters who survived dedicated their entire lives to finding students and passing on what they knew. And look at this. From just a couple of schools in 1980, the effort to rebuild just exploded. It's a testament to this passionate mission to reclaim a lost heritage. And because of that incredible, tireless effort, today you have a new, vibrant generation of young Cambodians who are eagerly learning the intricate dance steps, the ancient music, and the timeless stories. They are the ones ensuring that this profound cultural heritage, pushed to the very brink of oblivion, doesn't just survive, but actually thrives. Which brings us to this final thought. Cambodia offers a really powerful answer to that question. It shows us that culture is so much more than stones in a jungle or words in a history book. It's a living flame passed from one generation to the next, a soul that, even in the darkest of times, simply refuses to be extinguished.